Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of TNT Footy. I'm one of your hosts, Taz. In the middle here, we've got Moisty or Todd, and at the end, we've got Will/Egi. How are we tonight, gentlemen?
Very well, thank you.
How we going, boys?
Very well.
The pies are in, Egi.
They are. We made it. Well, I did call it in round 10. I did say it was going to be a Pies v Brisbane, but none of you believe me.
Confident on that, weren't you?
I was.
It was. You were. You didn't even stray away from that either. You were like, "Nah, this is what it's going to be."
That the whole time. Well, I did say Carlton v Collingwood at the start of the season, but then they had that bit of a drought.
Then they had that little dip.
Yeah.
You moved on to Brisbane. Oh, Carlton had their chances.
They did. So when it came down to the prelim, I was like, oh my god, my guess has kind of gone wrong. Yeah.
I was really praying for a Carlton Collingwood grand final. I
Me
wasn't
too.
confident, but that would have been enormous.
Would have broke AFL, I think.
Yeah.
Just
would have broke the MCG. It was already shaking enough.
Yeah.
You're already feeling.
Thanks, Turtle. Go Pies. And Turtle agrees. He called it as well.
He did. That's unreal. I'm just getting our. I just forgot to bring up our chat. So.
Oh, that's all right. I'll just go through the quick agenda before you do all that, Tazzy. So we're going to go through this show's big week this week. We've got last week's games, Moisty's minute, and I'm pretty sure we've got a message as well, boys. Our first message coming in.
Hey.
This week's games, tips, first goal, Norm Smith, play of movements, and a bit of Eggy sports review.
Oh, you did miss the AFLW. I wanted to touch on the AFLW.
AFLW, we're going to touch on the AFLW too.
You didn't want to. But...
No, I didn't want to borrow it. Eggy wants to have a crack. I should. North on top. Unbeaten.
Sock the blue bagger. Welcome.
Welcome back, Sock. Welcome back.
Sock is back.
Good chatting to the other day.
On the quick one, what I did want to touch on the AFLW was the Melbourne Demons Adelaide is still undefeated, so I can see why you don't want to talk about it because North Melbourne went down to Brisbane by Lions by 2 points.
Oh, we get beat.
Yeah, but I wanted to give them a hats off because this Saturday the Collingwood Magpies are playing Essendon Bombers at Punt Road Oval at 11 a.m. So it's a good segue if you're getting down the Collingwood supporters before the AFL Grand Final. Yeah,
do a double header.
Yeah.
I reckon they've done that deliberately. I think that's a smart move.
It is a very smart move. Well done on them.
Just down the road.
I think kids are free and it's only $10 tickets. So any Collingwood members that are going to the game or they want to go down and have a look, just go down for the atmosphere. $10 and you
Brisbane
get in.
can too. Like it's not a Collingwood exclusive thing.
Well,
go check out the girls. They can.
They can if they want to.
They probably want to get some. Who are they playing? They probably want to get some Bombers supporters down there too. Like, just everyone's invited.
Get down there. $10 a ticket and kids are free. How can you go wrong?
That's a good curtain raiser. Yeah, I'd pay 10 if I was like you or me. We were going to have the girls' game before the North Carlton till that got scratched.
Yep,
it did. Hey, I forgot to say before that the joke this week's jokes.
This
week, we haven't started yet. We're up to the joke now, mate.
Yep,
we're right on.
Are we?
Yeah, jokes right coming up now.
I'm way out of it tonight. So they say that during sex you burn off as many calories as running 8 miles. My question is, who the hell runs 8 miles in 30 seconds?
That's an oldie, but it's a goodie, Tazzy.
Well done. All right. So he's made the switch to sex jokes, has he? He's not doing the AFL. Game on.
I was getting dominated with the AFL jokes, so I had to choose something.
All right. What do tits and toys have in common?
They both start with T.
No. Todd?
I don't know. Yeah, give us it.
They're made for kids, but Daddy can never stop playing with them.
Oh, we've got a winner again. Daisy's gone down again.
Do you research all week? I'm just terrible at jokes.
I just see one pop on. I'm like, that's a keeper. That one.
That's a keeper. That's going in. Eddie's just taking a commanding lead. I don't think he can be raced down. It's like 8-1 or 8-0. I think. I don't think Daisy's won a week yet.
We might have to change it up. I think. We'll get you against Eggy next week, Todd.
Oh, I've got a research one. All right, I'll get working on it.
Oh gosh! All right, let's get into last week's games.
Before we get into there, I just wanted to say, was Richmond too early choosing Uze as their captain? I mean, not their captain, their coach. Because I'm going through the 2003 Brisbane Lions Premiership team, and I can see, look, we've got Craig McRae here, who's that? Second year grand final coach, Michael Voss. Oh, he made a preliminary in their second year. So I'm thinking maybe they should be looking at that 2003 Brisbane Lions premiership team if they're going to find a good.
Maybe pinch Lepic, hey?
From
Collingwood.
No, I think Uzo's been around a long time. I think he's the man. I think Uzo's going to take him places.
Comes with a very, very comes very well regarded in the AFL industry for his coaching.
Dog trainer, welcome. It's been a while, Swole.
Hey,
Happy fatherhood.
Yeah, welcome, mate. Welcome.
Yeah. I think Uzo. Yeah, he's going to be a lot of experience there too.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be fantastic.
Whether he starts there and moves somewhere else, like normally, because he's in a rebuilding coach, and normally they don't last, so he might start there and head somewhere else. But I think
are the Tigers rebuilding though, or are they just kind of dropping down a little bit to then push hard again in the next 2-3 years?
I would say not, but then you got to look. Dusty's going. I think Prestia will go now.
I don't think they'll bottom out though.
You don't think that they'll come close? Next year will be a danger year. They probably won't go as bad as the West Coast or North, but they'll sit. But do you really want to be? And this was brought up by Chris Scott. Do you really want to be hovering around that 10th, 8th, and 9th? What's that get you? You look at St Kilda and Richmond for that long, they got nothing. North and West Coast have bottom out. North's just got. They're going to have 9 first rounders in 3 years for coming down the bottom.
It's also taken you 5 or 6 years to get those picks.
Yes, it has, but that's the point.
Plus losing a few players along the way.
Yes, we did. But what's the point of coming 8th, 9th, 10th in this year in this format we have now?
Well, I think
there's no advantage to that, hovering around those levels.
I think the format at the moment when it comes to draft picks is a little... probably something I want to talk about in the next couple of weeks, but I don't think that it's too fair at the moment either.
Well, the way I was going to bring this up too, but we might as well talk about it now because I'm red hot into this. But the way I was talking about someone today, they should have the bottom 6 go in a lottery pool. They pick houses out or something. It's a lottery, so 6 last could pick 1.
Okay.
So then it's not always the bottom side getting pick 1. You have a reason to move up through the ranks, and then you get the bottom 8. How many teams you got? So bottom 6, middle 6, and top 6. They all go in a lottery, and you can get any order in there.
I don't mind it. What do you guys in chat think? And I just want to say, Sock here's got Chris Scott too. That is very true. He got flagged first year. Chris Scott took over a very good side.
Yeah.
Turtle, Tigers are bottom 4 in the next 2 years, guarantee. Sock's also got Tigers' new coach will be fired after round 1 anyway. And then we've got Swally, probably due to be a stinker side, had our fun. So that's right, Swally's a Tigers supporter. I don't mind that idea that you've put up there.
It was just something I was working on, yeah.
Maybe we'll see if anyone in chat has anything to say about that. But I think it might be worthwhile having a bit of a deeper dive into that in the next couple of weeks.
Well, it makes the bottom sides try a bit more then because they can get to 12th or 13th without risking those picks.
Yeah, it'll also depend on what they do with the wild card as well, if they bring that in.
If they're going to bring that in.
Because they had that in the VFL this year. But I don't think it was too successful.
I don't think it worked at all. The two
the
teams that run the wild card got in and then got smashed the week after.
Exactly. And the 2 teams, out of the 4 teams, I think 7th and 8th won. 9th and 10th got absolutely pumped by them from memory as well.
And then 5th and 6th pumped 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
Also, what I have heard word of is, you know how we had the bye at the start of the finals? How about putting the bye now?
I like that.
Pre-grand final, I like that one a lot more.
To do the same as what the NFL do. That's what the NFL do.
Yeah, but then you put the Brownlow Saturday night. Say the buys last week, you put the Brownlow there. You had the girls' matches on. You hype up all the girls.
Yeah.
Full week there. You have the Brownlow night there. And then that gives them a Saturday for a Brownlow instead of a Monday's terrible night for Brownlow.
Monday's the worst time to have it. I love Mondays, as you know. Yes, I'm weird. Mondays are my favorite day of the week, but Brownlow shouldn't be on a Monday.
we used to, when we were 17, 18, you'd have beers watching the Brownlow. You can't do that as an adult.
You can.
No, but
No, you
you
can't
used to
do that.
go to someone's house when you were able and not working every Monday, and you could sit there all night having a few beers watching the Brownlow. You can't do that as an adult here because it's.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Turtles has put in here. He thinks 18th to 14th should be a lottery.
Yes, that was pretty much
Similar
what I was
to you.
going through before.
Yeah.
But going back, no, Egi, this is backtracking a little bit. I don't think it's too early for Uze.
No, it's not. I just wanted to bring up how the Brisbane team and how their coaches there coming out of that team under Lee Matthews is doing really well. So it's going to be a good sight to see in the coming future, I reckon.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the games that were. Can we actually work backwards? Can we start with the Brisbane Carlton game tonight?
We can if you want to.
Absolutely. Work backwards. Do you want to start, considering I'm a Carlton supporter?
Well, you can start on that one. I haven't got it up here, but
well, Carlton did well at the start. They got 5 goals in front, and I thought they were almost home. I was getting pretty excited, seeing how good they were going in the first quarter.
They shut down the ground well.
They would Harris Andrews though stopped it from being a 10-goal quarter. That's for sure.
Freak.
Yeah, but they shut down the ground well. But then I don't think they had the fitness to do that the whole game. Once Brisbane opened it up, it was game over.
Yeah, I think the first quarter as well, we were lowering our eyes when we were going inside 50, and it was working. We were hitting targets up most of the time. As soon as we started bombing it in, or the times that we did bomb it in, Harris Andrews, Caden Coleman, Ryan Lester, all over it. Intercept marking.
The good defenses now have those interceptors, and you can't just bomb in. Like the good defense, the Brisbanes, the Melbournes, the Collingwoods, even Carltons, they've got the intercept flyers. You can't bomb in long. You've got to work your way into those.
And that's what Brisbane did really well. They actually, especially Caden Coleman, I've never seen him play a game like he did on the weekend. His intercepts, not just marking, but intercepting the ball and ground ball gets, and then taking the risky kick through the middle or running it up the ground a little bit to then deliver it into 50, and lowering the eyes and hitting a leading player was outstanding.
Yeah. No, I thought he had an amazing game.
Danaher, he did okay, 2 goals, 1. I think Wiedering and him had a pretty good tussle. I thought Harry Mackay was pretty good. Charlie Curnow had the worst final series, but I think it'll be better for the experience.
So is he just not a big game player, or was that just a...
No, I think... I've heard a couple of things. Like, I have heard that he was carrying some type of niggle. It could have just been exhausted because it's a long season.
Be a lot warmer up there too. Also, Artie's he said, "Evening, boys." So welcome, Artie, to the stream.
Welcome, Artie.
Sock the blue bag has also put. I was harder than a diamond in the ice storm at quarter time. I quickly flopped and by full time was inverted completely.
This is a lot of us. I think I was mad on Carlton too. I was very well invested in that game, but Brisbane were just too good.
Yeah.
And there's a rule, by the way. I've come up with a rule, viewers, just so you know. Every time Todd says something to do with game over or it's finished,
it's
or done,
job's done.
Halfway through the first quarter and to the end of the first quarter, the opposite of what he's said is going to happen.
I did not say anything.
So Todd's got the early crow mods, does he?
I believe what I said was they're getting an easier game than Collingwood to stir up one of our supporters that follow the show. That was nothing to do with Carlton. I just said it was an easier game. So you cannot put this moz on me. I have done it to Carlton throughout the year. This one I can't be blamed for.
You've done it so many times throughout the year. So next year we're gonna get a bit of a counter going.
Yeah.
And every time Todd,
how many teams on moz?
Yeah, 100%.
Like Jeremy Cameron.
Like
yep. He's home for the Coleman. Then he was out for 6 weeks.
He gets injured. I did pick Dacos not winning the Brownlow though. Yeah. That was before he was injured.
No, it's because you put the mods on it.
Before he got injured, I said Dacos won't win the Brownlow and he gets injured 2 weeks later. I put the mods on him. There's another one.
There's been a few. Next year we're actually going to keep track, and it'll be interesting come the end of the year how many
just put them up on TikTok each week.
We'll have a good intro on it.
Yeah, we'll have to. Absolutely. Oh, goodness.
Oh, there's
All
been
right.
a lot. I'm just thinking back over them then. There's been a good
There's
10 or
heaps,
12
mate.
this year.
Heaps.
At least that I can remember.
And, I mean, game of the round.
Oh, game of the year, mate. Not game of the round. This is
Game of the year,
of the
yeah.
year. I'd go ahead so far, depending what the grand final. But I can't see a grand final being better than this. I wish this was the grand final.
I just hope it's not the grand final's not a blowout, but we'll talk about that more shortly. But at one point, Pies
Yeah.
GWS.
Game of the year, I believe.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Very good game.
Yeah. I felt
Both
sorry
had
for
their
Toby Green.
chances.
Yep.
Felt sorry for Toby Green. Apparently, he was inconsolable after the game.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
I got a question before we start talking about the game itself. What are your thoughts? And chat, feel free to chime in here. But what are your thoughts on the media interviewing players of a losing team after a massive loss like this?
You go first, yeah.
I think it's right because they've got rooms here they can go into if they don't want to talk to.
This was in the room.
But like there's like a back room,
standalone rooms.
Yeah.
Rooms
where media can't go. So,
and
I don't know if they're allowed to take family in there. 'Cause I know Toby was with his. I'm not sure if it's wife or fiance or girlfriend. But I know he was with her in her arms. And
I don't mind it too because it's good for the fans as well. Like obviously, you could clearly see Toby was upset, but who's not going to be upset?
Yeah. I know, and like imagine GWS see they don't see that, and they think, oh, he doesn't even care. It's just work for him. But then you see how bad he was. He's like, I can't wait for next season. They're going to come out firing because they're going to be so hungry for this by losing like that, so close, such a close game, and just
it's sort of if you don't too, the GWS fans probably feel a bit left out. Like I know that's probably not the right word, but I'd like to see, like I'm North, I'd like to see more of our players after the game, but we never win, so we never get that. It was great watching them win the last game, seeing how they were having to talk to them and that. I wish they did it more during the year.
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of those things. I think it's a really good thing for the fans, but I do feel for the players during those times. Because I feel like sometimes the media can be a little bit inconsiderate.
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts.
I will say that too. Like, it depends on the media personality too. They've got to be the right questions. Not
BT going in there.
Artie's going to put, well, Pies will definitely need those rooms this Saturday. Eddie will blow his head.
Which head?
I've got a trend here that Artie does not like the Pies at all.
Does not like the Pies. You can join the club. I've got a club coming up later. I've seen them everywhere. So the teams are every AFL team and Brisbane versus Collingwood, and the umpires are all the meetings going at the moment. They're the two teams going into Saturday.
Everyone that I've spoken to that I've told, they go, who do you follow? I'm like, Carlton. They go, I see you going for Lions this weekend. I'm like, I don't know yet. And they're like, what?
I've met a couple of Carlton supporters this week that are going for the Pies. And I hope
for the Pies because my dad goes for the Pies.
Yeah.
That's fair. But secretly in the chat, you're going for Brisbane just to feed it to some people?
Just to give a bit to a couple of Collingwood supporters. No, I've said all year I don't mind Collingwood. Anyway, back to that game. Yeah, absolute no. But GWS had their chances. Like next year, they'll be more experienced. They'll look for those handballs over the top. Toby Green centering instead of shooting at goal. There was about 5 or 6 of those chances they could have taken and could have won the game.
Swallows put Lions did beat the Blues, so it would be a hard call for Blues fans.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially I was really happy to see how many Carlton supporters made it up to Brisbane last weekend.
Yeah, it's huge. The noise was deafening. The players were saying.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. Oh, thanks for the follow, Queenslander.
Thanks, Queenslander. Appreciate the follow. I'm looking forward to this game. I actually feel that it's not going to be a blowout like most grand finals.
So are we rolling straight into the game now or not yet?
Well, we haven't really spoken too much about the Pies Giants game. So I thought my thoughts on it was Egi was outstanding and it was a fantastic return for Nick Dacos. The little things that he did in the game that he probably wouldn't get a lot of recognition for. There was one play in particular where he jumped up and smothered a handball, and instead of smothering straight down, it smothered up. So then he caught it, spun out of a tackle, and gave the hands to a player running by him. That was fantastic. And the amount of times that he put a teammate into space, he's just a freak, absolute freak.
And I was listening to Craig McRae this week. Fly was talking on I think SEN or something, and he was saying that we knew they're going to come hard in the second because they did the same thing last time. That's when they put Port Adelaide to bed. So that's why we sort of we had Nick off at the start of the second quarter and at the end of the first quarter, just so he'd be fresh and be able to come in and make an impact.
Yeah, and that's what he did.
Yeah.
He's an impact player. He's 100% an impact player. The two greens I thought played really well for GWS, Toby and Tom.
Yep.
Tom is a bull, mate. He is
an absolute big
bull.
Unit too. Big.
Yeah.
And he's only young.
22, isn't he?
Yeah.
23.
Yeah. So those two will super coach next year. Definitely look out for Tom Green.
Stop giving away me secrets, does he? No one takes Toby Green because they all hate him. So that's an instant pickup for me early.
Oh, you wouldn't believe it, but the last two close grand final games were all Collingwood games. 2010, 2018. Every other grand final since 2010 has been a blowout. Wonder who that was that from?
Good signs.
That is true.
Collingwood's lost them both too, hasn't they?
No. 2010 they won. 2018
they
lost.
Still have the replay if it's a draw?
No, they got the 3 minutes.
Each way, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 3 minutes each way.
I thought it was 5 minutes each way.
Unless it's a grand final difference. I know the other finals were 3 minutes each way.
3 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. No, they're doing extra time now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if it's
just keeps going?
Yeah, it keeps going until there's a clear winner.
Until there's a result.
That
was changed for the St Kilda Collingwood game.
Dog Transport. If GWS don't win the big dance soon, do you think Toby will move to a Victorian side?
No.
I don't. I think he's cemented up there now.
Needed a draw to win the 2010. I think it was needed that smother on Nick Riewold's goal. That's the only thing that kept us in it.
I have it on very good authority that if Toby didn't re-sign this year or last year, I can't remember when he re-signed, then he would have come back to Victoria. But if he did sign, he would be there till he retired.
Yeah, I think he's set up there. He's captain up there.
Yeah,
he'll be hungry next year. They'll go very close next year.
Absolutely, and that was on very good authority, as you boys know.
Yeah.
So that was cracking game, absolutely cracking game. Before we go into the grand final, the big dance, the Kiss show, let's jump into Todd's mailbag, or better known as Moisty's Minute.
Moisty's Minute. I haven't done this for a while, but we've had a mail in, but I had this Moisty's Minute question up before we got this mail in, so I'll read through my question and then we'll get the video up. But should the Brownlow voting system be changed? Are the umpires the right men for the job or women for the job? Was this year's Brownlow compromised? I'll get Egi to
but before we do that, I'll get the audio up. Thanks Turtle for sending it through, our very first mailbag.
Hell yeah!
I'll get that playing now.
Enjoy the show. Definitely Egi is by far my favourite. Always wearing the good colours there. So my question is, we've all seen the Brownlow, what happened there. I don't think I've ever seen the media blow up about everyone agreeing that there is something wrong with it and it needs a change. Do you guys believe it needs a change? And what would your thoughts and ideas around it changing? How that kind of platform would work, or maybe benefits more deserving players in the long run, and players of all positions and whatnot.
My apologies, I did have some music playing over in the background. I'm not sure if you got that stuff.
You have played it through, but thanks for sending that through.
We got the half of it through. I forgot the music was playing, so as I turned to the speakers, I played the music over it. But I think, did everyone get the gist of that at the end?
I hope so.
Right, so thanks anyway, Turtle, for sending our first video through. That was through on the Twitter, I think. So if you want to
Instagram,
just send one of those through.
Started 2 weeks ago. Was a good hype up for the mailbag, that's for sure.
Good hype up. Just get the music going.
John, we'll break that. Sorry, Todd. Before you go into that, as everyone knows who are regular viewers, the first time we try anything on this show, we always fuck it up.
We're in trouble,
Always.
aren't we? But
It's
it's the
so
first
good.
season, first year of doing this, so we'll get better at it. We'll get
Oh, it's
all
great.
this standard tat. But we'll break that up into a couple of things. What do we got with? So first, should the points system be reworked? Do you boys believe?
I'm happy with it, and if when we get at the end of it, we'll go into more detail of why I'm happy with it.
Yeah, Tazzy?
I like the 3-2-1. I do.
I like the 3-2-1 too. I think that is. Geez, we're joking around. I forgot what was the second part of that question. Tazzy, did you remember it?
It was should the voting system be changed? So I don't necessarily think total means the 3-2-1. I think the way that the votes are actually given on who they're done by. So should umpires?
So should umpires change? Yeah. So I've got that was done. Are the umpires the right men for the job? Well, I've been saying this all year. I think I'm going to say they're not, because they're not getting the decisions on the field right. So the added pressure of having to do this afterwards is probably too much on them. We've put more umpires on the field, and it's getting more wrong.
Can you tell me, is it a single umpire that gets to do it, or is it the whole?
I think it's all four.
Yeah. See, I'm happy with that, and we can dive more into that in a sec.
You're happy with all four?
See, I think it should be a completely separate panel, who are watching the game and have eyes on the whole field.
Look at everyone, because then obviously forwards get more recognition, and the ones that really don't. I know forwards don't get ref, but defenders get no recognition, and there could be a defender like Harry Andrews that keeps the Kerno to 1 point.
Well, I do
any recognition.
I did see Isaac Quaynor got a vote, because I know what one of the boys had their multi going on, just Isaac Quaynor just to get a single vote, and he's known to be in the back lines, and he got a vote. He got a few votes actually.
He got a vote in a game where he had 28 touches, and for the first question there, mate.
We
loved it. Another one.
It came through, and I was very excited. So
I was very excited till I heard that Egi was playing music during my segment.
My apologies.
Might have to get the Egi sports bet this week, and we'll throw a bit of ACDC in there.
Actually, we need to get a clip of TNT to play at some stage on our show.
Yes. We're gonna get someone to sing it, I think, and it can only be. I think you're only allowed 15 seconds, like a little snippet, and that way you don't have to do any royalties.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Todd. You are not singing. No, we
want. No, that's me.
We want viewers to feel welcomed and come into a safe place, not load their phones up. All right, big game, Collingwood, Brisbane. Let's start with our tips.
All right, our tips. I'll start this one off because I've got a few controversial this one.
We're just doing the tips. We're not going to do Norm Smith or anything yet.
Okay.
I can't because it's all linked together.
Can we?
I can't give my Norm Smith until I can't give my tips until I give my Norm Smith.
All right. Well, I'm gonna answer Queenslander's question.
Okay.
I think I know who it is, but I'm sipping Collingwood. But it is a genuine 50-50. I am on the fence. I think it'll be a very close game. Collingwood will probably get out to a lead early. And then Brisbane will do their normal comeback thing, and it'll be right down to the wire. That's my thoughts, and they might even get over the wire. I really am on the fence about it.
Egi, you give us your tips because I've got to do all mine together.
All right, I'm going Collingwood. Obviously, that's my team. I'm going to watch the game. I do feel like they get up, because last time we played, it was 4 goals difference. We're missing DeGoey. We're missing Darcy Moore. We're missing Jordan DeGoey. Or did I just say that? We're missing Bobby Hill and Nick Dacos. So we got those 4 into the side now. Obviously, McStay comes out, and then Frampton's come in, and pretty sure Danaher did a number on Frampton last time, so hopefully they won't be putting him full back.
Is Frampton coming in though?
Yeah. Craig McRae announced that he will be in the team. But by the sound of this, there will be a couple other shuffles up. So
I was about to say this is not looking good for Collingwood.
I'm hoping. All I want to see is Lipinski out and Noble in. Put Scott Pendlebury in the back if they they don't even have to, but yeah, they can move him forward. But yeah, I can keep him on Noble on the bench, and yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, I am worried about the heat. It's going to be 30 degrees. Brisbane have been playing in that and training in that for the last 3 weeks. It's going to reach up to 30. But I am happy that it's at the MCG and not at Marvel or the Gabba, the smaller fields that what they've played on for the last 7 games.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
so mine. Now I've got to do this Norm Smith because my picks is 100% determined on if he plays. My Norm Smith medalist is Noble. If he gets into the side, I think he'll come with a vengeance and have a ton of the ball, and he'll want to make them look silly for leaving him out. If he plays, Collingwood wins. If he doesn't play, I've got a vendetta and Brisbane wins.
Oh,
So that's right. If Noble plays, Collingwood gets up. If Noble doesn't, I'm not happy with Collingwood,
That's a big
and
call.
Brisbane will win.
is that your big call for the round as well?
That's the big call too. Yeah, Noble
Yep.
plays, they win. He doesn't, they lose.
I like it. My big call is Elliot Fires. So he's been pretty quiet this final series, not his normal big game self.
Well, I think he's been kept quiet too. Like he's always had a man on him, and he's always sort of held forward like that full forward sort of position. So there's always been someone there.
Yeah, I think he fires this weekend. Big game, loves the big moments. I've got him down for kicking at least 3.
Just catch up on track. Dog Trainer's got a goal on a tight angle as time expires. Brizzy win by 3. Turtle's got. So as I said earlier, Cox, Cameron, and Frampton will run Big O ragged and force Danaher out of the forward line. I honestly believe that's the plan. Turtle, Jack Chris, Norm Smith with 24 and 2 goals. Artie's got Brisbane by 22. Norm Smith, Cameron.
Ooh,
I
interesting.
think if Brisbane wheels, I think Lockie goes the double.
Yeah.
You reckon Neil?
I think Neil, if Brisbane
I
win, I
think
think
Dunkley.
Lockie does the double. He's been pretty quiet.
I think Jordan Ago is going to run rings around Dunkley.
I've got Dunkley from Brisbane as Norm Smith, and I've got DeGoey from Collingwood, and or Dacos. Yeah, everyone's going to have Dacos there.
Everyone's going to have Dacos
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Both Dacoses deserve to be in your Norm Smith contentions.
Do you think Scotty Pendlebury could fire? I don't think if
he competes with the 2 younger guys or 3 younger boys.
No, because I think this could be. If they win, I think this could be it for him. I think so.
Yeah, if he wins, they retire. I think he does too.
Because I think that's why it could be like a straight swap for him for Noble. That's the only thing I'm sort of thinking at the half.
He's had a big
back.
final series though.
Yeah, he's
played so well these final series.
But
he's smarts, and he still looks like he's got all the time in the world when he's got the ball.
He's got side bottom through. Though has been Collingwood's best player since round 22. Is that because Nick Dacos and Darcy Moore are out? Well, I suppose
back with Pendles too. Like that goes back to the old saying: do you want to retire on top, or go another season and limp on?
Yeah, that's what Shane Crawford did.
He can retire a goat, or he can limp on next season.
Look at Shane Crawford.
Yeah, went out on top.
Yep. Even though they continued to win, he goes, "I have no regrets."
Yeah.
So, yep. Sidebottom has turned back the clock this year, the last few weeks. Again, he's a big name player.
Also, so we'll get a first goal scorer because we've sort of skipped over that.
First goal scorer for each team, or just
well, there's only one first goal scorer, Tassie. It's not one for each team. There's only one first goal scorer.
So do you think Collingwood's going to score first? Do you think Brisbane's going to score first? I think because Carlton got that start last week, they're not going to get a start like that.
No, I think Brisbane's scoring first, and I've got Bailey to kick the first.
I've got Collingwood starting early, and I've gone Hill.
Yep.
Nice.
That's you, Eggy.
I'm thinking.
He's like nice and just sitting there.
No, I'm thinking.
Nobbing away.
I'm going to go on Moistie's thing and go Noble for first goal.
Dog Training here's got Noble for first goal off the half back line.
Why not?
I don't think let's just see what happens.
That's a huge.
He might be in the forward line too. Yeah, he might. I just hope he plays because I think it's not going to be a good look if he doesn't play.
Smalley's got here. What drugs did Dacos take to get back to 100? I want some.
He's not back at 100. There's no way he's at 100% last week. He might have been 75.
He looked very eager when he was on that bench, so I did notice that.
Yeah, absolutely. Turtle's got here Collingwood and DeGoey first. And Smalley's got Big O first goal. Jeez, that's a huge
Well,
goal.
it could be big getting forward on all those rucks they're bringing in.
They'd be paying like $84 or something.
Kicks it from the centre square.
Probably 2012 or something.
Big O.
Big O. Yeah, they're Ruckman. Ruckman get forward.
Off the first one.
Maybe.
I don't know about the first one, but it wouldn't be that high, I wouldn't think, surely.
All right.
No.
Is that's pretty much all for the grand final part?
All right, grand final's done. So should we have a touch on the news and what's going on in the world of AFL?
I think we should. 100%.
We should definitely do that.
I'm going to start this
$41, does he?
41. I said 84. Just reverse the numbers. I was close. I want to touch on the player movement rumors, of course, and news of what we know. So just keep in mind this is all rumors for now.
And trade week doesn't officially start till a week after the grand final, so things can change.
Yes. And that's the other thing. I want to touch on the key dates for the silly season, which I absolutely love.
Silly season's great. Great part. Well, it's a great part of the year when you're down where North Melbourne is. This is my favourite.
So we've got Ben Mackay has chosen the Bombers in the last week.
I think he likes the coach. He likes Brad Scott. So
yeah, I think I said that to you on this show a few weeks back.
And the only thing I'd say about that is depends what compensation pick they get. North's not going to let him go unless they get pick 3. They've already said that. Pick 3's as low as they're going to take or they'll match.
Well, I think 800 to 850 is the rumoured figure.
So North will match that if they don't get pick 3.
Hang on, Turtle's got here. First ball touch will be Cox's knee to Big O's balls. Jesus.
Come on, we're a PG, family rated, R-rated show.
No, that went out the window last week from you. All right. Speaking of the Bombers, Massimo D'Ambrosio has requested a trade to Hawthorn. I don't really know much about him, to be honest.
He was a mid-season pickup, I think, a couple of years ago. Hasn't really played many games.
Okay. Anyone in chat know much about D'Ambrosio? I've heard his name a bit, but I've never seen him play, so I can't comment on whether that's a good pickup for the Hawks. I just don't know.
Oh, it's the same as all those mid-season ones. Don't get a game there, but could go to Hawthorn on fire.
Yeah. Yep. Elijah Hollins, I touched on it last week, but he's expected to land at Carlton, and the rumour this week is a pick in the second round, and he was a former number 7 pick, I'm pretty sure. What I heard, actually, there's a couple that I heard today. Harrison Petty is apparently being rumoured to be wanted by the Crows as part of the McAdam deal, so that's just a bit of a wait and see.
Yep.
And Max Holmes from the Cats to the Pies. Now, I know there was rumours of Holmes having a little bit of unrest. Last I heard, before I heard that today, was that he was actually going to continue at the Cats. But, yeah, just another wait and see.
Wait and see on that one.
And as of an hour and 15 minutes ago, Lockie Plowman from Carlton Football Club has retired, aged 29 and 125 games.
Nice.
Probably not breaking into that team, really, though, is he? So
Not at all. Not at all. I actually expected him to be dual listed. So whether it was forced,
he played some good games, Plowman, but
yeah, his turnover game wasn't great.
Welcome, Hurdy. He's got Massimo, speedy halfback.
Hey, Hurdy, do you think it's a good pickup for the Hawks? We were just saying before, not sure if you
halfback. Yeah, they could use a speedy halfback, rebounding halfback like the Sard role.
Loves kicking snags and bouncing.
Oh, that's good.
So I've just pulled the Sard out of there. That's a Sard role there.
So he must be behind Nick Hind and Mason Redmond. You're not going to get past those two.
You won't get past Redmond. And Hind's
also
a winger, not a backman. But
no, Hind plays off halfback.
Does he? I thought he was a winger.
Yep. Because he went to St Kilda when Sard went to Carlton because they were trying to replace speed with speed.
Yeah, gotcha.
Just being in and out of the side. They've got another halfbacker who runs off there. McGrath, I think, this season played off there.
Yeah.
Not real quick, but does have stints in the middle too. Do you want to run through the silly season dates?
I can go the silly season dates. I like the silly season. So we've got the National Combine, which starts on the 6th till the 10th of October. Then we've got the draft nominations. You've got to be 9 a.m. from the 10th of the 10th till 3 p.m. of the 13th of the 10th. That's when you can nominate. What's the next one?
Which one did you say?
I don't know. You've got 3 dates there. I don't know what those 3 dates are.
Which one did you just say then?
The draft.
Oh, draft
9 a.m.
Yeah, so then you've got 9 a.m. from the 6th of the 10th to 5 p.m. on the 13th of the 10th is restricted and unrestricted free agency.
Oh,
period.
you've got a little thing down there. Yep, I did know
Yep.
that. Restricted and free
Yep.
agency. And then from 9 a.m. from the 9th to 7:30 p.m. 18th to the 10th is the trade period.
This is why you pre-read the agenda. Kid.
Pre-read this. So you had it down. Then we've got 5:45 till 6:30 on the 21st of the 11th, a picks only trade period. So that's when obviously North Melbourne make a play for pick 1 or Bulldogs make a play for pick 4. That goes on during that. 7 p.m. round 2, final round of National Draft, rookie promotions and delisted free agent period. End of National Draft.
It's a long day,
Getting
that
tongue
one.
tied now. Then we've got 3 p.m. 22nd to the 11th, the preseason draft, and then at 3:20 p.m. the rookie draft, and 4 p.m. 23rd of the 11th is final list lodgement. That's when teams nominate their players for the next year.
So it's about 5 weeks. 5 weeks of absolute silliness.
And it's just mayhem. It's just deals getting done here. I've listened to a lot of list recruiters and deals getting done just before the wire. Then they backflip and they've got to get a whole nother team involved. And they reckon it's just mayhem. It's 5 weeks.
Iggy, you're a piece of shit.
Absolute mayhem.
We can't hear Turtle. So was he playing it loud enough to drown us out? Because we're gonna have to go through all those dates again.
No, only briefly. I just queued it up for the end of the show, and I forgot that I left the sound on for.
Oh, it's gone over the top of me, have
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
We will get them up on the socials anyway. If you want to have a look at those key dates, we'll get them up on.
Oh, they're up on the screen now. If you want to see them, anyway.
Up on screen.
Oh, that's actually hilarious.
We will go through them again next week when we're going through. We're going to go into a bit more detail about the grand final and what's happening in the next 5 weeks next week.
I think next season we might also do a bit of a review, where instead of maybe having the projector, we have it cover the full screen or something to make it easier for people on phones. We have spoken about it before.
We're just going to do some trial and error while in the off season and get some stuff worked on.
The first season going on, we were still working.
Yeah,
that's good. I've loved it.
Back better and harder than ever.
So you guys missed the Fisher and Gresham trade. Actually, no, we did not. I've actually got a list here because I'm starting to keep track in a Excel spreadsheet, and there's currently 37 players on there. I'm not going to go through it tonight, but next week we're going to do a trade show, and we're going to go through each player who is on the list, whether we think they're going to be staying or going, similar to what we did 2 weeks ago, I think it was.
This was just what's happened this week in the news, like the ones that have come up in the last 7 days. We just wanted to recap on them rather than going through. I think there's about 50 trades in the works.
And Swall's got Dusty up to the Sunshine State?
No, I think he stays till next year.
I've actually taken that off my list. I don't think that will happen. We all want answers now.
Mate, we could go through them, but it'd take another 2 hours getting through. Like it'd make the show incredibly long. So we just did the 5 that we thought were key points for this week.
Yep. Bit of an update. And then next week, you just have to tune back in, Swell.
Mate, next week's going to be dynamite. There'll be a list next to it, and we'll read names, and you'll get sick of hearing about trades next week.
And we're going to go in alphabetical order.
I was going to do it in most impactful order, but Tuzzy can't figure that out for himself.
Oh,
I'm not
shots fired.
Okay.
All right, now we'll just move on to the Egi Sports Review, I think.
But before we do start, I did mention last week that what are your 5 teams that you want to watch next year? I'll kick it off with mine. Obviously, I'm going to have a look at Carlton GWS because they both went out in the preliminary final, and what we noticed last year, the 2 that went out in the preliminary final made it into the grand final this year. And they did a good season. I think St Kilda showed signs of being good, so I reckon they'll be one to watch as well. Gold Coast, a lot of names coming out of their list are doing some great things, like Brownlow in the Brownlow, and Chol. I actually think Chol might be on the move actually from the VFL.
Anderson in the Brownlow.
Yeah, it was. He went really well. Plus we got Took Miller. He was out for half the season with his injury and that, so he'll be ready to bounce back as well, hopefully.
Yep.
And the last one, Probably thinking I'm gonna go with the Bombers. I'm gonna see what Brad Scott's gonna do with the Bombers. Is that the right? Yeah, it's the right one. Yep.
Yeah,
like
Brad
it.
Scott's got the Bombers. Yeah,
I like it.
Oh, actually, I do want to see what North Melbourne are gonna come with.
He's going to steal all our picks here.
He's going to go through the whole AFL list.
Oh, I went at 6 set. My bad. All
I'll
right.
go through next, so I don't want to see.
You've picked a third of the teams, Eggy.
So these just watch and see what happens, because I've got GWS and Carlton, same as you. I think they'll both play finals, and then I've got two here. I've split them up into 3 groups, and I've got North Melbourne and Hawks. I don't think they'll play finals, but they'll push the bottom half of the 8. Those 2, and then I've got Richmond to do an absolute bolly flop down to last.
So I've got your first. I've got your first 4.
Have you?
So I think the Swallow. Oh, hang on, we'll catch up on Hurdies in a second. Yeah, so Carlton GWS, obvious. I think that I've just had in mind by us. Gold Coast, definitely. I'm really interested to see what Hardwick brings to them with the talent on that list. North, I think, are going to start to turn corners. So there's 4 straight up. My 5th team, I'm actually really interested to see how Port Adelaide go.
Yeah.
I really am, because their finals campaign was a disaster.
Well, they're on their back about the finals, but they were in the bottom 8 last year. I was just, yeah.
They were, but I also
shouldn't have gone out in straight sets though.
No,
but they lost their last few games. They got a few injuries towards the end there.
But if you get a home preliminary final, the dominance they've had at Adelaide.
Yeah, I just don't think they had the depth once the injuries went out. They didn't have anyone that could just slot in there and they'd be able to do that role.
But you look at their list and they've got Mitch Georgiadis, who's got huge raps on him, Todd Marshall, who's got huge raps on him. They've still got Charlie Dixon, even though he was injured. I get that. They've got Rosie, Butters, Horn Francis, who will probably be they're nearly already an elite midfield unit. Their back line lets them down. Alir is probably their best defender. If they can bring in a couple more.
Not heard of a boy called Dan Houston, mate?
Dan Houston. No, he's a gun. I don't class him as a defender though. He's more of a midfield halfbacker now. They've got Dersmer on the wing, who again potentially could be moving, but I just think their side is too good to be getting knocked out in straight sets.
So is Melbourne though.
So is Melbourne, that is true, but their forward line lets them down. Port and Melbourne need to switch some players because
get
Port's
defense and forward line.
Yeah, correct. But anyway,
before we move on, I did have another question I forgot about that was going to wrap up in Moisty Minute too. North Melbourne's assistance package. What do you guys think about that? Do you know what it is?
Briefly, do you want to remind everyone about it?
So North Melbourne gets an end of first round pick this year and 2 end of the first round picks next year. So essentially 3 first round picks.
So in the first round, it's only
so
there's only 18
19.
or 19.
Yeah, 18 teams plus the pick, but North
but yeah, a lot of them get like traded off in that. So it could be Hawks could get two picks in that.
Yeah. This year, you're obviously getting North gets the one for Mackay, which bumps the end of the round back one, and then St Kilda might get one and bunch it back, and it bumps it back, but still 3 first round picks. But I have just recently learned today that the AFL have left a revision clause for the ones next year. They can be taken away.
That's correct.
Okay.
So North Melbourne would be silly not to swap those away this year in case.
Yep.
In case that happens. Yeah, that's my thinking too. Look, I think...
But is that detrimental though for if they swap it with someone else, that could get taken away from someone else?
No, the picks stay there. So if they go from North to Hawthorn, doesn't matter. They can't lose them now.
Okay.
They've given them to North to try and trade up the order.
Yeah.
Is my thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so have I. But it's still 3 first round picks is a lot for a team that should be, I'm not going to jinx this, but already ready to go.
Yeah. Look, it's a massive assistance package, like absolutely a massive. You look at the fors and against, right? The reason why the AFL would have looked at it, they've gone, you finished bottom 2 for the last 4 years. That's just not good enough.
But then go the last 10 years, they've made 2 preliminary finals in that 10-year bracket.
Correct.
St Kilda have made 1 finals, and they're not getting any assistance. I'm North Melbourne, and I'm saying it's a terrible package.
No, I know that. I'm not happy with it.
But it's good. It's good for North Melbourne though, isn't it? But it's not
It's
so
good for North Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's unfair for the rest of the league. But if you look at, so this is the one I normally bring it back to, is St Kilda. They've made 1 final in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, they've only won 1 flag in the last, however.
150. They had their 150 years this year, didn't they?
One final. When did they lose to? They lost to Collingwood in the 2010.
10, yeah.
So 1 final in the last 10 years, and they have not been given any assistance, priority, nothing. North Melbourne's been in 2 prelims in the last 10 because they've had. So it's what I was saying before. You're better off dropping to the bottom, staying there for 4 years, getting all your priorities, then making a run.
Yeah. Not when you think a new team coming into the comp. Better to give it now.
Yeah, I agree with that. You got Tasmania coming in 2027. Is it next year they start getting draft picks, or is it the year after? It have to be next year.
No, it has to be the year after. They can't get draft picks because then they take out of the comp.
But don't they start with the 16-year-olds coming through?
But if they get draft picks next year, the kids that get drafted there don't play AFL for a year.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking about the under-16s. I think they get to choose a number of under-16 kids, like GWS did.
Oh, yeah, and just have them in the academy ready to go.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I just want to touch on here. Hurdy's got better to give it now, and you have to climb the ladder, which is fair. It's an interesting topic of conversation. I can see why the other 17 clubs are unhappy about it. And there was some coaches come out this week. I think Chris Scott was one of them that was pretty direct and blunt with what he was saying. And
he's where I got that St Kilda from. I agree with you 110%. Like North will be silly not to use these 2 picks or one of them and one of your other ones to go up to number 1. Get Harley Reid coming in for something that AFL just give them hard work.
Yeah. But he's got West Coast will get it next year. And our Turtles 5 picks also are Carlton, Giants, Gold Coast, Adelaide and the Dogs.
Yeah, I like the Adelaide Crows as well.
Yeah.
It's interesting, especially with Clarko at the helm now. You can't say he was there this year.
No, he wasn't. But you look at what they were also going through. Clarko did the same thing at Hawthorn. He had all these priorities at Hawthorn before he took off. So it's mirror imaging what he done at Hawthorn is happening here. I don't know if he'll have the success he does, but he's got the access to the same talent, the same picks.